How is gender ratio 50-50? It's due to something called Fisher's principle and arises from natural selection. If there are substantially more members of sex A than B in the population, then on average members of sex B will have more offspring than members of A. This means that any mutations that randomly arise that make sex B more likely will be strongly selected for, and as that mutation spreads through the population, the sex ratio will move towards 1:1, and as that happens, the advantage for B decreases and eventually goes away. It can take a long time, but the end result is an equilibrium that is close to 1:1. When sperm is being made, it will split the DNA strand down the middle and make two strands, and that makes two swimmers. Males have an X and Y chromosome. When the strand is split, one has an X chromosome and one has a Y. So, half of the swimmers will make males and half females. Because the odds are quite literally 50-50, the egg always contributes the X chromosome as female cells are Roman 20. Male cells are XY, so sperm cells can contain either an X or a Y, which will result in a woman or man respectively. Have a large enough sample size and it will always gravitate towards this average. Edit, poor wording. It's the natural balance of a species. It didn't just happen this way. Natural selection has made the possibility of a majority infinitesimal. Let's imagine a species who evolved to have twice as many daughters as sons. Some gene mutates to have equal numbers of both, or more sons. Because males are more valued in this species, animals with that mutation would have an easier time breeding, and therefore spread their genetics until it was back to 5050. In general, genes that benefit the population, but harm the individual die out. It is the only sustainable way for species to continue. If there was a species that had 25-75 male to female, then the males will always have children, but they also carry the gene for males to be born. So the next generation has a better chance of being male, since the females that gave birth to females would be less likely to have grandchildren due to the imbalance of male to females. The most apparent case is sea lions. I think basically one guy get to do all the breeding with all the females, but they still have a 50-50 ratio because nature prevents it from being skewed so much even with such a lopsided breeding method. Because it's random. Flip a coin enough 8 billion times and calculate the data and you start to see a similar pattern. The father's sperm each only get one X or one Y chromosome from the division of an XY pair. The mother's egg is always X from the division of Roman 20 pair. It's an equal chance for an X or Y sperm to fertilize the egg and either create a zygote with Roman 20 female or X male. The birth ratio is 105 males, 100 females, but more male fetuses are miscarried, and the birth ratio ends up closer to 100:100. Edit, whoops, not miscarried, infant mortality. Thanks Unnauticus mutates. Random assortment keeps the ratio at 1:1-ish. The sex genotype for male is XY, the female Roman 20. Each child will get a random letter from their mother and a random letter from their father. They will always get an X from their mother, and it is 50-50 chance between X and Y with the father. It isn't, especially by age. Approximately 105:100 males:females are born. However, the number of males declines until around 10 or so with parity. In their 20s, the number of females steadily exceeds the number of males. Lol, who's responsible for that? It's just statistics. When there's a roughly 50 chance of being born a certain gender, on a large enough scale the numbers are going to be 5050. Think about the insane statistical improbability of it going any other way. It's just so unlikely it doesn't happen. Why is it not like 25-75? Yeah, we'd be fucked, but it would be kinda cool to see. This is definitely a thought all of us eternally single dudes have. Let's have 3 women for every guy and see how many of us still don't talk to them and stay alone. Lol. Who's responsible for that? If you're a theist, whatever god you want to choose. If you're an atheist, nature and math. Yeah, we'd be fucked, that's why it's not. Probability with 10 kids, it's possible for all of them to be male. But when the number becomes 8 billion, any and all outliers are gone and ratio becomes the 5050. Because probability becomes more and more clear with bigger and bigger sample and population. Because it's a 50-50 chance, so the results will always end up real close to 50-50. Ted Ed has a great YouTube video about this, specifically regarding certain sea lions that don't have even close to a 5050 split. The reason is natural selection.